Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namaha, Om Shri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Today we talk about Baba's control over the elements, that is the Panchabhutas. Before we do this satsang, I need to tell you something about this story, really. Hemad Pant and indirectly Baba told us that whoever is going to listen to this story or read this in Satcharita will benefit tremendously. And let's hear what exactly was told in the Satcharita, the original Satcharita. Whoever reads this or listens to the story of the control of the elements will attain new attitude in the spiritual inclinations. They will attain whatever is desired, and whatever is not auspicious or desirable will be destroyed, and they will personally experience Baba if they really put their mind into it. So knowing this, you can realize how important really this satsang is really. So let's begin with Baba controlling this storm. It was really beautifully described in the original Satcharita. That was the Marathi OV style Satcharita. It was a very frightful time. The entire sky was black and overcast. Birds and beasts were frightened. A hurricane-like wind began to blow. The sun set and it was evening. Suddenly, the whirlwind arose. Strong, gusty winds are blowing. There was a horrifying commotion accompanied by a lot of thunder, lightning, shrieking winds, and torrential rains. And a lot of hail coming down and making a lot of noise. The village folk and the cattle had a fearful anticipation and cried and started running around, creating a loud commotion. This was the scene that day in Shirdi. People were running to the shelters they can find, but no other shelter can really tolerate this kind of wind, really. Destitute beggars came for shelter under the eaves of masjid, that is Dwarka Mai. And the cattle also tried to come into the Dwarka Mai. The masjid was very crowded. There was water in all the areas. The hay was completely washed away. The harvest was totally wet, and it was kind of grounded. People were really struck, horrified really. The whole village was frightened and worried. They came in and filled the courtyard of the Dwarka Mai, and some stayed under the roof space. They put forth their grievance to Baba. Of course, Shirdi had a lot of temples at that time, but the people felt that Baba was their savior, not any of those temples really. At any critical juncture, no one was of any service to the villagers except the one and only prompt and quick Sai, who helped them in all the difficulties in their lifetime. He did not need any sacrifices of goats, cocks, or offerings of money. All that he desired was true devotion to sweep away all difficulties. Sai Maharaj was greatly moved by seeing the panic of the people. He left his seat and came forward and stood near the edge of the masjid. The sky was reverberating with the sound of thunder, and the lightning set the sky ablaze with light. In the midst of all this, who was standing there? That was our Sai Maharaj, shouting at the top of his voice, "Gods love their devotees and their saints and sages more than themselves. Gods heed their words and take human birth for their sake. Gods have to support the cause of the devotees on hearing their appeals." So when Sai Maharaj, Paramatma himself, who controls the universe, when he says that the storm needs to stop, it has to stop. And Baba's voice reverberated and resounded in the sky, and the Dwarka Mai seemed to shake. Everyone was deafened. The masjid and the temples resounded with the earth-shaking voice of Baba. Then the clouds stopped their own thunder, and even the rains stopped pouring. This Baba's loud voice was so profuse that the whole courtyard full of people got rooted to the spot, whispering among themselves. Baba's skill and powers were inconceivable. It had an effect on the rains. The wind also was immediately controlled, and the darkness caused by the fog was dissipated. Slowly, slowly the rain decreased. The wind also lessened. The darkness was dispelled by that time. Later, the rains completely stopped. The winds quieted down. The moon appeared in the sky. Everyone was cheered. Indra melted at the plight and upheld the words of the saint. That is our Baba. The clouds were dispersed in all directions. The wind calmed down. And then the wind started blowing gently. The sound of thunder subsided. The birds and beasts regained their courage, leaving the shelter of the masjid. The cattle and the calves came out and roamed again without fear. The birds also flew into the sky. Having earlier experienced the terrifying incident, all the people returned to their homes after expressing their gratitude to Baba. Such was this Sai's embodiment of mercy. He had great love for the devotees. His concern was like that of a mother for the children. How can we describe that loving nature? This whole story really is very well described. That's why it's good to hear the whole story as it is. Baba was incredible and unparalleled to any of the powers that day. Baba one more time became Govardhana Giridhari, that is our beloved Krishna, when he rescued literally whole Shirdi village like Krishna rescued everyone when Indra showed his wrath. Let us explore the spiritual meaning of this incident. Who is Indra? He is the king of all the Indriyas, that is our whole human body. When all the Arshad Vargas are showing their powers, we become powerless. If we don't have Baba in our lives, we have to weather the storm and suffer. Such is the power of Sai, really. So, Sai Bandhus, this story really shows us how Sai protected his devotees and the whole village, like Krishna saved them under the Govardhana Parvata. In the next satsang, we will talk about Baba, how he controlled the fire. And with this, we conclude this part of the satsang today. Om Sri Sai Ram, Om Sri Sai Nathaya Namaha, Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha.